Today, guys, we're going to talk about the fact that it's time to start planning for winter. I hate to break it to you, but the seasons are changing and it's coming. Stay tuned to the end. We're going to get a chance to talk all about it. Hey guys, really quick before we get in the meat potatoes of this video, just want to say if you got any real estate questions or any questions in general about the Pikes Peak area whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to my team and I. We are the James E. Mountain Homes team and we are your local mountain real estate experts. We live in this area, we love this area, we're experts of this area, and we want to definitely help answer any questions that you might have. Now, you can call us or text us at 719-266-2725. You can also email us at info@jdmurrayt.net and we'll get back to you with an answer as quick as we can. You get notified of new videos coming out if you hit the subscription button and that notification bell. That way you get notified every time a new one comes out, and we send tons of these out. Plus, don't forget, we got 2 free resources. We got the Buy Local Guide that's got lots of our local vendors and stuff on there as well. That's changing all the time. Definitely check that out. We also have Relocation Guide, the Pikes Peak Relocation Guide, which helps to kind of just give you an idea of what it looks like to move out here to this area and some things that you might not have thought about asking about before. And it's a great resource guide for that as well, and education based. Both of them are completely free. No obligations, nothing at all. Definitely check those out. All right, let's get into this. So the seasons are changing. Yesterday, right before filming this video, I was just thinking, I was like, this is the first day that it's actually felt like fall is coming. It was in the mid-60s. The sun was out. It was gorgeous. It just had that little bit of a crispness to it. So, and I want to get this video out because now is the time to start planning this stuff instead of waiting until it's too late. So we'll talk about some basic things, and I'm just going to kind of hit some generalities that you need to think about if you're living out here in the area, or if you're going to live out here in the area that you want to think about, just getting ready to go for the winter, because winters here do last a little bit longer, and they are snowy and they're cold, but they're not as bad as what you might feel some other places. So, and I've got other videos to talk about that, but specifically on the home. So right off the bat, if you haven't done already, you definitely want to get your chimney swept. If you've got a wood burning fireplace or a wood burning stove, you definitely want to get that cleaned. Make sure it's clean and ready to go for the season if you haven't done so yet. Same thing for anything that's wood that's got like a fire burning in it. Just make sure it's cleaned, even if it's a gas or propane. That's good yearly maintenance to have done, just to make sure those are clean. So that way they're operating very well going into the season. Now, that's the wood burning stuff, or the big aesthetic ones, where you actually have a fire that's in there. You also want to make sure if you've got a furnace, a boiler, whatever you got for your primary heat source, that's been serviced annually as well to make sure it's running optimally, because you don't want that to break during the middle of the winter. If you can avoid it, you want to capture all that stuff now before you actually need it on there too. So definitely something else that you want to take a look at too. Other things you might want to be looking at on the house, if you've got a roof that's got a north facing slope to it, or has any kind of valleys or anything like that you could end up with ice dams, you might want to throw some heat tape up there that you can plug into to help melt those ice dams, so you don't end up with that ice coming up underneath shingles or causing any problems on the roof. Certainly some things to look at. If you've got a metal roof and you've got gutters and you don't have snow stays up there yet, you probably want to go ahead and start throwing those snow stays up there as well. They're not very expensive. You can get a handyman to go out there and do it. Those prevent that snow from sliding off all at once with that heavy weight and ripping your gutters right off. So another thing that you might want to look at too with getting those taken care of. Plus, you're going to be getting really close to, if you haven't already, doing your last cut of the lawn, making sure all that stuff is done too. It's easier to do it now instead of waiting until it snows or something along those lines. So make sure if you haven't cut your grass for the last time, and this might not be the case down on the Front Range just yet, we might have a few more cuts in there, but up in the mountains, you're probably getting close to that as well. Other things too, making sure if you've got a gravel driveway, whether you're on the Front Range or if you're up in the mountains and you don't have an asphalt or paved driveway, making sure that's getting to where it's graded before it starts freezing. Because you can still do it when it's frozen, but it's just a lot harder because all the ground's frozen. We've had a lot of rain recently. It usually helps to kind of get those things to where you can get them graded back up and looking nice. That way, coming into the actual winter season, they're going to plow very easily as well. Another thing to start thinking about is for your vehicle. Great time to go ahead and do an oil change if you haven't done one yet. We usually do ours spring and fall on there. That typically works out well with what we've got mileage-wise on ours too. We put a lot of miles on our vehicles, but that's definitely a good time to start looking at doing your oil changes too, is during those transitionary points of the season. We're coming into fall, so it's a great time to go ahead and get that done. Get your filters looked at. That way your heater in your truck or your vehicle is working really well. And then you also want to start looking at tires. This is when it really gets more important in Colorado, is looking at tires. Now, if you're going to stay on the front range, you're going to stay down there, it's a little bit flatter. You might not have to worry about it as much, but you still need to be thinking about that. We see a lot of folks on the front range area that seem to think that they don't need to worry about tires, and they end up being the ones that are spinning out and the ones that have issues down there when it snows. So if you're going to be out driving in the snow, you still need to have decent tires, whether you're in the mountains or not. Now, one of the things that we recommend, and this is just the type of tire we've been on since we lived here. We've been on it for 10 years now. It was the KO2s. Now it's the KO3. So it's the BF Goodrich KO3s. Those are more of your SUV and truck style tires. So if you don't have an SUV or truck, that's fine. And I'll go over that here in a second. But if you got an SUV or a truck, those are great tires that you'll be able to use year round and not have to really worry about taking them off in the summertime, like you will for some of these other vehicles that we're going to talk about here shortly. They work really well. The KO3s do really good in the rain too. I've had ours now on both our vehicles since I think February or March is when we got new tires put on. And they've been doing great out here. They work great in the snow, the mud, wet pavement, dry pavement, doesn't matter. They've been working fantastic in both those elements as well. If you've got a vehicle that isn't an SUV or a truck, it might be a minivan, a crossover, or a sedan, that's out there, that's fine too. Just know your vehicle. Now, if you've got a rear wheel drive vehicle, it's going to be very important to have snow tires when we come into the actual snow season on here as well, because you could have a lot of issues with that. Now, you can get studded if you want to. I don't really think stud is necessary here. You might get some differing opinions on that. And the reason why is we don't usually have a lot of ice out here that we have to worry about. And that's usually what studded tires are really better for. If it's going to be really icy, my recommendation is just don't drive unless it's an emergency on there. You can typically wait 4 or 5 hours and that stuff is gone during normal working hours during the day, and you don't have to worry about it. So there's really not that need to get studded tires. Snow tires, on the other hand, completely different scenario. My wife and I moved up here with a rear-wheel drive vehicle, and we finally got Blizzak snow tires thrown on there. We got them for really cheap. It was like last year's or 2 years models ago from TireRack.com. And so it wasn't that expensive on there. And we threw them on that vehicle. That vehicle had better traction than our four-wheel drive vehicle did. Out there, it was phenomenal, the difference on those. So certainly recommend that. Now, here's the thing. If you're getting snow tires, typically they're a softer rubber, which is what helps them do really well in the snow. The problem with that is if you're getting warmer than 60 degrees still, those snow tires are going to start melting as you drive on them, and the rubber's just going to start flying off. You're going to burn through them really quickly. So you definitely want to make sure if you're putting snow tires on, we are past that threshold of it getting warmer than 60 very often when we're out and you're driving around, because you don't want to just burn through those tires within a couple of months. They could last several years within the wintertime if you take care of those correctly. But definitely something to look into is good snow tires going out. Now, I haven't heard of or found a good tire on a sedan or something that's not four-wheel drive that'll work year-round on there really well for both scenarios. Just the amount of traction you get for an actual snow tire is phenomenal, and you're going to wish you had that if you didn't have that. And there's different driving techniques and everything else you can get into. You can throw chains on and do all that fun stuff also. I'll be honest, we haven't had to have chains the 10 years we've been here because we've always had the right tires with the vehicles that we've had, and we just haven't had to worry about that. So definitely something to think about as you're kind of going through this and you're getting ready for the winter. Now, those are the big ones, home and vehicle. There's always all kinds of other things, making sure you got the right clothing, making sure you've got your emergency kit just in case you lose power in the house, which can happen. I mean, it's not something that happens a lot, but it happens often enough that you want to be ready for that with either a backup generator or with, blankets, something that's going to help keep the house warm and help keep you warm in the house too. Same thing with your vehicles as well. If you get stranded out somewhere too, lots of things to think about in that realm, but we're getting into that. So I want you guys to start thinking about that stuff because we're probably not far off from our first snow. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. Once again, before we sign off, if you got any real estate questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to reach out to my team and I. We're the James Mountain Homes team. We are local mountain real estate experts. We're here to help. Text us, call us 719-266-2725. You can also email us at info@jdmret.net. We'd love to be able to help you guys as you guys are looking at moving or moving to or from this Pikes Peak region. And any questions you got here really in regards to anything out here as well. We want to be your hub, your center point to be able to ask those questions from. We also have the 2 free resources. Don't forget those, the relocation guide and the buy local guide. And don't forget to hit that subscription button and that notification bell. That way you get notified every time we have a new video that comes out. I'll see you guys next time.